So how did you get interested in Starcraft, and how did you learn the game to do that?
I was interested in video games, and my father used to play the precursor to Starcraft, which was called Warcraft 2, which was basically the same game. When I was growing up, I used to sit next to him and watch him play, and I get really excited when he beat someone else. And we used to play Starcraft against each other a lot, though both of us were really bad. And then, so I always enjoyed this game from my childhood, and then one day I discovered that there's a sort of thriving professional scene for it in Korea.
I remember one time I was playing against a professional, and we both did the exact same thing. So I opened the same way as him, and then somehow we came at each other with equally sized armies, and my army here and his stayed there. So I think I start basically with mining guys here. So they mine these resources, these minerals, and as they get minerals and bring them back to my main base, my money goes up. And as my money gets up soon, I'll get the ability to choose what to build, and I'll start to build new things.
Of course, the eventual goal is to completely destroy their civilization.
Okay, great. So speaking of the MIT community started, how did you start it? How did you form this community?
We all play it in the same room, and we can cheer each other on and discuss and practice strategies when we're not actually at the meeting. And so, yeah, I would say the club is basically really formed around the intercollegiate competition. We all meet once a week to practice Starcraft and sometimes to watch the Koreans play. My best memories from Starcraft come from the things I did with this team. One time we made it rather deep in the collegiate. You know, it's a fun bonding experience to take a 14-hour car ride there and back and stay in a hotel and play in a Starcraft tournament.
The fact that it requires some multitasking, because I have to manage my base at the same time that I control this scout and see what I can see of his base.
What do you feel like you've learned from playing Starcraft beyond just the game?
You are in a game of Starcraft is that you have to spend money as soon as you get it. You know, maybe when you're growing up, your parents tell you save money, but if you want to get something done, it seems to be better to invest that money right away and as efficiently as possible.
So I think if you noticed, he dropped these things out of that little drop ship that came in. And once he dropped them, he killed something like 8 of my miners. So that's quite a lot of damage he just did to me. And I don't know if I can recover from it in this game. One of the most important things in StarCraft is how fast you can move your hands, because then you can control more things at once. And that's probably my weakness. At my level of skill, most people can move their hands much faster than me. I can move my hands usually at around like 170 actions per minute, or 170 clicks of the mouse or keyboard per minute, and the top professionals can move at around 400 clicks per minute. So that's.
You are also a math major, and you're going to grad school at Harvard and doing research in algebraic topology. So how do you balance your math work with your Starcraft work?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that Starcraft is a good influence on my math work, but you can't do math 24/7. So everyone needs some hobby. This is, I think, a really good hobby. A lot of my friends I've met through Starcraft, and so yeah, I guess this is my hobby. And I think of it as really distinct from my math life. It's an escape of some kind.
So here what I'm doing is getting some research. These buildings basically do not give me any value right now, but if I survive for a couple more minutes, then they'll start to pay for themselves, and I'll be glad I have gotten them. So here he comes to kill me. So what happened was, the Koreans, they started making a living off of playing StarCraft 1, and then the game company Blizzard decided to release StarCraft 2, which was an update. So I mean, it's like a crisis, because you have these young kids who since 14, all they've been doing is playing StarCraft professionally, and they're on teams playing StarCraft professionally, and all of a sudden the rules of the game change. So you wouldn't want to take a professional soccer player and give him soccer too. So the advantage of being Protoss is that, generally speaking, your goal is to get into a head-to-head fight most of the time, unless you're kind of behind, like I was in the early game. And if you get into a head-to-head fight with the Terran, most of the time you'll win. But the Terran will try to just fly his army everywhere, peck at you in different places, and never let you get that head-to-head fight before he does too much damage to you and you just sort of die. Okay, he's coming now. This is probably a major moment. Luckily, I have this certain technology that I barely managed to research before he destroyed the building that was researching it. One of the things that a beginning StarCraft player often messes up on is that they focus so much on the fights that they don't worry about their economy at all. And then the other guy will eventually just get reinforcement units while you are so focused on the battle that you're not actually building anything. And that's very bad. This is him just giving up, I think. And now he says E for some reason. Alright, there I go.